But every time I look at Giselle's screen, I get fucked. Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Straight No Chaser podcast. This is episode 2 of season 2. And if you've been with us along the journey, congratulations to you. You are blessed. Also, we thank you for joining us on this journey. We're just a group of friends who one day decided that we are fucking hilarious and we deserve to have a podcast. So here we are, and you're here too. So welcome. If you are new to our platform, you can follow us on any streaming device that you use to listen to your podcast. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the YouTubes, and all of the etc.s. You can also follow us on Instagram at
Straight No Chaser
podcast.
Yes.
Teamwork makes
Yo,
a dream work.
and not all
You
of
did
y'all
that
watching,
properly.
right? Not all of y'all watching this, but it's Rohan pulling her hair. Straight No Chaser. What's that?
It's bothering me. It's in a
This
position.
is the tilt you turn to, you know. You pivoted. Oh,
I'm trying to learn how to flirt. Okay, so I'm practicing with y'all in the audience.
okay.
So yeah, welcome to episode 2, season 2. And we have lots in store for you. If you follow us on Instagram, you would have seen that we posted a question, a prompt for you to give responses. So we're going to go through a bit of that tonight, as well as we will discuss a little bit of, some interesting things, slightly controversial. Sorry. There's a student at the back with their hand up. The one from Venezuela.
Hello, hi. Good afternoon. Can we take a shot?
Let's do
Oh,
it.
yes, we take a shot. I'm sorry.
Not us begging for shots wrong here.
Come
Oh.
on, man, hide your water,
And
That's
the jig is
Really,
up.
she
Hello,
just
the
really just
listeners
pulled out a
cannot
bottle
see
of water.
Giselle. You really could have saved that secret for YouTube.
but it's going out same time, same day. No, put it up there. My girl. And it's blue waters too.
So it's salt water. They get looking for pressure.
Uh-oh.
Respect Trinidad, eh? Respect. All right, guys. So a wonderful episode with our besties because a lot of them interacted with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Woo.
I'm really excited about this episode.
Me too.
Oh,
Very fun.
me do.
Okay, so let's just jump straight into it. We have a packed night.
We do. Should I just kick it off?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I mean, I think we have so much appreciation for y'all that you took so much participation in the questions that we posed. We have a series of topics that are actually revolving around dating and all types of relationships. So marriage, people that are single, platonic relationships, so friendships in that case, family relationships, and so forth. So going to touch on some heavy topics. Going to touch on some funny topics, and also going to touch on the things that you all have shared with us in answers. And I will say, for those of you who have not seen those answers yet, of any of you in this call, in this meeting today or chat, I was dying with some of the responses. Yes, we have 2 students raising their hands. I guess, Giselle, go ahead.
Hi,
No,
I
didn't look. I didn't look at the responses, so I am going to be responding in the genuine.
She see me
Yes.
though.
In the genuine.
I just want
In
to
the
say,
genuine.
for those who are only listening, B has a lot of self-control, because the height of nonsense we was just doing in the camera and B was talking straight. You have a lot of self-control, babe.
Oh, y'all think this is the first time I'm dealing with children? Oh.
She insulted.
I will say for the rest of us that we are embarrassed. We will be We
We'll be
will
hushing
behave
our ass.
because while B was doing that intro, we were making the most gimmicks in the camera. Rohan and Giselle were making heart shapes with their hands and then shoving their finger through the heart hole. So maybe it's a prelude for
I
what's
just
to
wanted
come
people
in.
to know. I just
Maybe
wanted
it's
people
a
to
prelude
understand.
for what's
If
to
you're
come
if
in
you're
the
if you if you're
discussions. Eh?
accustomed listening to Ayana, you can tell the difference between genuine speak and then the lies that she's telling, because
I
she
don't
started to
lie.
speak. She started to speak very proper, but also the octave wasn't as high as it is in person, but she went up.
Giselle, she lied. She
She
lied.
lied. My girl said, "No, and
Yans, I can't even defend you.
that is how you know when Ayana is telling a lie. It
Maybe
becomes
I added a
very.
little blue water to what I was saying, but defend me, please. Now they was doing nonsense. Nobody never asked.
I mean,
and
y'all
I
were
never
doing
said that I
nonsense.
was.
But
I
call the
never said
y'alls
that I
B. Call
wasn't.
the y'alls B. Call the y'alls.
But
Call the
hello, I
y'alls.
never
All three
said
of
that I
y'all.
was not making nonsense. I only stated facts. I said Rohan and Giselle. Whether I said or didn't say myself has nothing to do with the truth. Rohan and Giselle were making
No, but
a
we
hyper
wasn't shoving we
nonsense.
hand in places though.
And
you
I
went
never
on to
said
say that.
y'all were. I said somebody.
No.
All y'all, hush, hush. We have another student in the back row.
Yes, I am. Yes.
First of all, I would like to say how Ayana and Giselle was doing it first, and then I chime in like a little chicken. I should have never
That
joined.
is correct. That is correct. That is correct.
And they poking through she little half heart.
Excuse me, she
Good
wrong.
one.
She had
Sense.
enough time to observe and make a conscious decision to join in. I was led astray.
Ayana,
I got-
man.
I got swept up in the tide.
Ayana.
Oh God. Everybody on time.
Everybody except me. All right. Let me kick
You
it.
were saying.
As we were saying, so yeah, some heavy topics, some funny topics. Absolutely going to share the responses that our beautiful listeners have shared with us, have shared their vulnerabilities. We appreciate y'all. We know it's not easy to be vulnerable, and trusting us with information. For some of us, you may or may not have met. So we appreciate you and so much love. But I think the first topic we're going to talk about, it's more something that I'm going to talk about, actually, something that really hits home for me. It's something I relate to really well. Hopefully, those that are listening after this episode or even watching this episode later will be able to kind of get some type of relatability or know that they're kind of like not alone in these kind of struggles that do come up. And that is the topic of divorce. So as I mentioned, we're talking about relationships and all different types of relationships, but that also does mean that we're going to touch on the good, but also the bad and the ugly. And that leads to my topic. I guess, crew, if you guys have questions for me that you want to ask as I'm going through, definitely okay. I think for everyone on this call, for all of us in this chat together, have pretty much heard my side of things and things that I've gone through. But I will say divorce is not an easy thing. It is something that for some people can feel like a death. I will say typically when we take a look at stats and in my research that I've done, that divorce is 70% of the time initiated by women. But the craziest part is not research, is that they are also, or in the research that was conducted by FemAsia magazine and National Medical Library as well, is that while the divorce is 70% initiated by women, they are also the ones that tend to stick into a relationship longer, take it to like exhausted everything, and then to the point of the divorce. So that kind of leads to my story a little bit, where before I married Daryl, I was married previously at a younger age, at the age of 24. The person I was with during that time, I was with them for 4 years before we got married, and we were divorced by our second anniversary. And in this case, if we're thinking about not only just what's happening in real life, we're thinking about stats, but we're also thinking about the taboo, not only in the South Asian culture. I think it's a very big thing in the Caribbean culture too, about how much of divorce is a taboo, especially in this case, because only I can relate to that for women specifically.
Mhm.
There, in the research that we have, there's a lot of disparity between the downfalls of a divorce for a woman versus a man. Not that I'm saying that men don't have any downfalls that come from divorce. They absolutely do, and we'll touch on those parts as well. But for women to just kind of think about it is that when we're in a relationship, or at least for me, when I clearly did see a light that I was like, I am staying in this for too long, right? And to be quite honest, I probably even identified that before we got married. But in my mind, I was like, gosh, we've been together for so long. Gosh, the wedding invites have already gone out. In fact, when I talk to my best friend about it all the time, we clearly talk about some of the red flags that came up. But I was just like, no, I know this person is great. He's good. Like this is just a hump that we're getting over. Maybe we're in a stressful situation in our life. And eventually that led to infidelity on his side. So post marriage, about almost a little over a year after marriage, there was infidelity. And I think for people, when they hear that, people that may not have gone through an infidelity before, it is very easy for someone to say, oh, no, he cheated. That's it. We're done, done, done. Half of y'all know that you don't act like that. You say it, but you don't act like that. I was that type of person too. Cheated, done, done, done. However, when you're in a marriage, it is not easy to say, I'm divorcing this person, right? And I will even say it now when people come to me with, if they're going through like relationship woes or marriage woes, some people have said, like, I should just divorce him. Divorce is not easy at all. Whether it's you or the person that are asking for it or it's been asked of you, there is no easiness around it. So I've never ever told somebody like, gosh, you should divorce this person, even for someone like me that's been divorced already. And there's a few reasons, right? Because the emotional turmoil that you go through. So going back to the idea of like infidelity, I truly believe, looking back at it now, where I did have like the anger of like, this is done, we're done. It still took me a while to file for divorce. It took me almost another year to say I'm divorcing. I absolutely left. I said, I'm leaving this house. I am a true Taurus. So Tauruses definitely act on anger points at some times. And I was just like, I'm
Yeah,
not standing
Taurus
for
there?
this. Huh?
Anybody else is a Taurus, eh?
I think there's me.
Not me. Yeah, just you.
So
Especially-
yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where you think that you won't tolerate something, but it really opens your eyes on how much you'll tolerate. I'm a true believer that when someone makes a mistake, that if they own up to their mistake and if they're moving towards the amendments, right, of making sure that mistake doesn't happen again, like truly honestly understanding why that mistake happened, taking ownership for it, and then doing the work to say or try to make sure that this doesn't happen again. I do think those type of relationships are salvageable. I think that was my hope in that 1 year where I didn't move forward with divorce. And it was the back and forth. While he had been the one that made the mistake, he had also been the one initially saying, I think we should take some time apart. And I don't think he realized that I was going to action on it. And I said, okay, I'm leaving, right? And I left. And I don't think he realized I had it in me to do that. I will say I was a very different person back then. I think about it a little bit. I do think there was a little bit of not physical abuse at all, but a lot of emotional control that was happening. And you really don't see that until you get out of it. But at the end of the day, when you're being hopeful that someone will own up to their mistake or own up to what they're doing, there was a period of time where we were actually considering that, okay, let's try to make this work, right? Only for me to find out that he was continuously lying, continuously seeing this person. I am a true believer that things will open up to me when they need to in a timely manner. And I do think, I mean, for people that are spiritual, non-spiritual, I am very spiritual, that I felt like it was a way of like God kind of slapping me in a little bit and saying, like, I've already started showing you these things and you're not listening still. And while this is going to hurt you of what I'm showing you, here it is again. And so I think once I realized that, and it was the funniest thing was when I found out about that, I was driving, I pulled over and I must have lost it for a second because I wasn't crying. I was laughing. I was laughing with like, what a joke. Like, what a joke that like, here I am again, trusting my husband at that time that he's going to make these changes. He's working only to realize that I had to face that he's not the person that I once thought he was.
Mhm.
And while I was laughing, I'm pretty sure I was laughing at a delirium because I was just like, I can't believe that I'm not listening to because I wasn't listening to my intuition at that time. And women, even men, intuition is one hell of a thing, guys. Like, follow that shit.
Yeah.
So I ended up filing for divorce, and I served him the papers myself. I think that was a little bit more out of pettiness, where I was like, I wanted to see the reaction on his face. I think again, he was very surprised that even when we filed divorce, I'm not sure how it is in the Caribbean. In the States, they give you a reconciliation period for 6 months, meaning that during that 6 months, if the couples decide that they don't want a divorce, essentially that action to file for divorce is null. And he was trying again after that, right? He's like, I've really changed, show me some ways. And again, as I said, guys, divorce is not easy. It is like a death. So while I was mourning the loss of this relationship, it also makes you more vulnerable to promises that had no backing. And so while I was going through that with him, luckily for me, I had a very supportive family and friend circle. What I want to call out here is that because divorce generally is such a taboo topic, I think more so in the South Asian culture and even in the Caribbean, I think it's such a taboo topic where women actually don't necessarily have that much support. Some of the things that you'll read in articles, again, ones that I read from like Femme Asia magazine as well, is that women are shunned from their family, right? There's been conversations where a woman has tried to go back home to her family and they said, you have no place here. You are your husband's property. And therefore, if you are planning to leave this man, you are an embarrassment to us. And a lot of that comes from like things like sayings of, there's a traditional saying that is, a woman leaves her husband's house after she dies, alluding to the fact that women would prefer to be dead before they actually decide to file for divorce. Girl, your camera working okay, bro?
Why did you show y'all my red bra? Like,
It's
sorry.
very just do
For some context, y'all, Ro has a new camera on her iPad that follows her everywhere in the room. So follows every movement. And it has been one of the most hilarious things that we've had to endure for the last couple of recordings.
We saw her whole room.
Flashing people, my ass is out. Like, thank God I'm wearing pants. Really don't take these pants off. And we're talking about serious shit. Like,
yeah, that's all right, girl. We need a little break anyways. Shit was getting heavy.
It was
while we're like just a teensy break,
yeah.
no, but like, did at any point you feel, because you know you had a supportive system, but at any point did like your anxiety kind of kick in and be like, can I go home? Can I reach out to my family and friends and they'll support me in this divorce? Like, are they gonna judge me? Are they gonna be mad that I did this at a young age and now like it's a mistake? Well, not a mistake, but it's not turning out the way that I wanted it to. You know?
Oddly, my anxiety was actually different, Rose. So it wasn't, because I said I know that this is not the norm for a lot of people, but I did not have a fear of going home, right? Because you all have met my parents actually, whether it's in person or online, and I didn't have that fear. My parents have always backed me up in everything that I've done in life, even when I've been wrong. They've always been there to support me. The anxiety that I did have was because I wasn't sure what decision I was making. You have this need, and it's a crazy need, to protect the other person's image. So like going home, why are you going home? I could not tell them that I found out that he cheated, because they had a really good relationship with him as well. And for me, I was like, it was that inkling of like, well, if this ends up working out, if I say everything now, it's going to destroy his image. Right. So even for like my best friend was upset with me for a while because I didn't tell her for almost up to 2 weeks, I think. Right. Like she didn't know that I had come home. She didn't know, like, she just thought I was visiting mom and dad. We lived about an hour from mom and dad at that time. And that was the anxiety of like, if there's just an inkling that this is going to fix, like, Bahar, don't jump the gun. Make sure you don't just go and bloat out your whole business. Right. And for a while, I actually did that for a while, which was crazy because there were people that were trying to help. They had really good intentions where we had mutual friends, and those mutual friends were trying to reach out to him and be like, yo, like, what's going on? Like, is there anything we can do? Same thing on my end. But then what I quickly noticed is that as much as I was protecting him and not telling the truth, he also was not telling the truth. Right. So meaning like he wasn't telling like people that he considered his best friend to say, I messed up. I had, an affair essentially, and I'm still carrying it on. Instead, he just said, we're having some disagreement and she just needed some space. So when I look back at that, I'm like, wow, that should have given me a flag earlier. Like, this person is not ready to actually own up to his mistakes and so forth. But my anxiety role was actually around like, I don't want to say anything about him because I don't want people to judge him. And it's so crazy to think that, because like you're essentially protecting the person that did you wrong, but they didn't give two shits about doing you wrong at the same time. All right. Yeah. So yeah. And that is the anxiety. And I think, but other parts of that, especially in the community, you have this other anxiety of, let's be honest. I'm Indian. Indian people are expected to marry Indian people. My first husband was Hispanic. I was the first person in my family to marry outside of the culture. I did have that anxiety that I didn't want people to say anything to my parents, right? While they were there for our celebrations of marriage and so forth. My other issue was like, oh my gosh, like, forget about me, but what are people going to say to my parents, right? What are they going to say that like, oh, because there's always those people that like under their breath, they're just like, oh gosh, she's marrying non-Indian. Like, let's see how long this lasts. And it is just something that I feared so much and had a lot of anxiety around for my parents. And I would say like that was a very key thing for me. Like I was so worried about my parents feeling embarrassed. They didn't show 1 ounce of embarrassment. I think when people did try to say something to them, they really stood up for me in those scenarios. But those were my 2 key anxieties. Like, what would my parents, not what my parents would say, because I trusted what they would say. What would people say to my parents and how would they make them feel? And what would I don't want people to think any negative thing about my husband. So while I'm trying to go through this traumatic situation, still trying to protect people that shouldn't be protected at the same time. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It really does. It really does.
Do it a little bit. Like when you're in a relationship and something's a little like it's gone awry a little bit, sometimes you're afraid to tell your friend about it, because you tell your friend, I know your friend is mad forever for you. Yeah. Like, I know I'm that friend. Don't tell me anything bad about your man or your girl, because forever, I will be upset and keep that, and I would just store it and never like that person. Because I'm like die hard for my friends. Like the minute I see one little
understand that.
Yeah, like I feel like we all kind of have that about us.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely.
I would maintain a kind of a ship there, because I need to see, because at some point there are some people who are going to be there.
Yeah.
Whether we like it as friends or not, and that's fine. So I could be cool. I will be cool with you, But just know, under them glasses there.
Yeah.
I'm watching.
And I think that comes with, I don't know, as I said, I can only relate as being a woman, but I think that is a lot of fear for women where, it's typically, and it's a weird way that society puts the responsibility on us that like, you made this decision to be with this person, therefore you must stick with that decision. Yeah. And if you make a decision otherwise of divorce, you have failed. You have failed in life. You have failed in your decision making. Like, it's almost like they consider like this is a person, you're not capable of making good decisions. Really, when something happened that was out of your control.
There's also something more though, Bahar. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit behind. My internet is slow, but it's not just. It's also a little bit more like it makes, rather than the people around us, society, looking at this person and saying, why did you treat this woman in this way? Somehow the perception, at least from my experience, it feels like they're not looking at you, and the judgment is on you, as in, why didn't you make a better choice or better decision? So
Exactly.
now it's my fault for not having realized that this person wasn't shit, and that this person didn't like me or wasn't invested as much as I was invested in the relationship. So now it's on me and not on them. Like I should have known. Like, she should have known that. You know,
Yeah.
I could also hear people's reactions. Like, I should have known better, as opposed to, why didn't this person do better?
Yeah. I did get asked the question, did you know that he was like that before? I'm like, no.
Yeah,
Like,
sure,
and
sure.
I don't
Yes, I
think
did.
I don't think there's a stream of like, this person was like this before and therefore I should have known. It is, I do think people can change later in a relationship and become not such a great person, right? So, and make mistakes. Even good people make really bad mistakes at the same time. So for someone, and tip, guys, not a way to help support your friend is to never ask, did you know, or did you have any signs of, was he like this before you guys get married? That is the most shitty thing to ask.
It is.
It's just, and you're
And
right.
even
I
that
think
goes
even
both
shittier than
ways,
that.
though.
I think even shittier than that. Well, I've broken up before, but never been divorced. Shittier than that would be to get somebody that's saying to you, I never liked him, like before
Yeah,
they
boy.
right? Because that's the
Agree.
first thing that they decide that, okay,
Somebody like a friend or something, and that's their
yeah,
reaction.
I didn't like him all the time. Like this, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear
Exactly.
that
That's not,
because
and
And
I
this
think,
whole
if they're
time you
trying to
thought
be
this
supporting.
person was not good enough for me, and you had nothing to say until this moment.
Yeah,
there's
for sure.
the I told you so's, and there's for me, my mom
Yeah,
is
boy,
divorced,
that I
right?
told you
And
so's.
she's divorced a few years now. And at a point in time, it was her saying to me, you told me that from when you were younger, you didn't like him and I should have listened. It now becomes on the person, mostly women, I would say. I don't have any facts behind this, but mostly women, they're going back and saying, I should have listened to you, to whoever is her supporter group. I should have listened to you. You were right in the beginning, all along, and blah blah blah. I mean, it's good to note that there were flags that you ignored, but then you don't have to apologize to anybody because you chose to do what people also say to do, is look at the good in people and
Yeah.
see what connects you and all of that, and taking risk and taking chances and all those things that they say in the fairy tale and in real life. And now you're apologizing when you've looked past things or try to fix things or try to help things grow mature, and it just grew and mature in a different direction. That's
Yeah.
crazy to me. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It is. And as I said, it's just, there's so many ways to support and not support. And by all means, I do think the people that try to say, oh, I didn't like him in the first place, I think they think that they're supporting you and they're trying to get you in a space of mind of like, don't think about him anymore. But what people need to understand, as I mentioned already 100 times, that divorce is a death of a relationship. A breakup is a death of a relationship, right? It's a death of knowing somebody as you once thought they were. And in that itself, you need your grieving moment. Some of that is, yes, you're going to go through your different steps of grievance, right? Where you're going to have a space where you might hate that person, think you hate that person, and you just want to say all the shit that you want to. And then that might be calming, right? But at the same time, you need to have the proper support system, not the ones that are saying, yo, let's go out and get drunk every day until you get over this. That is also not healthy. I did try that, and I definitely will tell you I hit rock bottom one of those days by throwing up on my in my garage.
B. Let me just insert a foot here,
Yeah.
because different structure, different folks, and we cannot solve all our problems with alcohol. We cannot solve all, but
Yeah.
some, especially in that first wave, because I have mourned as well. And in that first wave, sometimes you just need your friends and a bottle. So let me just say, some initial problems could be solved with alcohol, but like, don't just stay there. You gotta move on.
Yeah, no,
can't
that's what
just-
I'm saying. Where I'm saying like there's a time period where it is good for that, but not a time period where that's all it is. And I
'Cause
think those same
alcohol-
friends that are taking you out to drink should also have an understanding of like if she doesn't want to go out or if she just wants her space at home, that's also okay. Does that mean that you come at home and hang out with me? Great. But if I'm telling you I want my space, that's also a thing. And I think that's where people know that and that's another way to support, right? So another way to support is like, let me just send her a meal to make sure she ate that day, right? I'm not going to go. I had a friend come to my house because she didn't hear from me for a few days. I was telling you, I was in bed. I was pretty depressed and I love her for it. She came to my house, took off the blankets and was just like, let's go for a walk. She's like, I know you don't want to party. We're not going to party. We're not going to drink. Let's just go for a walk. I was very resistant, but I look back at that and I appreciate her for that. So I think in the support area, like there's areas to draw lines, but then also making sure that if you're trying to be there for someone that is going through divorce or that has also already been divorced too, please don't do things like, oh, I found a man for you. He's also divorced as well.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not divorced, but Gil,
Yeah, like
shut
the
up.
amount of people that try to match me like, oh, by the way, he's divorced too, has no kids. I'm just like, when did divorce become a criteria? Not that anything's wrong with that, right? I'm speaking from a divorced person, but when did that come as a criteria? Why isn't it just like, oh, I found this man for you. He's so great. He's one of my coworkers, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, he's divorced too. And I think and I think part of it is like they think like, okay, maybe you'll relate, but I have dated divorcees as well, and there's no relatability on some cases. So it's just those are things that you shouldn't do also. So I would say give that person some space, watch your terms. If the person wants to talk about a divorce, if someone comes to you and says, yeah, I've been divorced, I also say it's not your place to ask what happened unless that person's ready to give that information. I think amongst close friends, I think that's fine to ask, but like if someone has said like, oh, you've been divorced before, what happened? More than likely, I mean, especially from someone like me, I'll probably be like, oh, it was just something happened a few years ago. I prefer not to talk about it now. But as I said, it's just those kind of things that come with the topics, the taboos that come with that. There's a little bit of disparity between as I mentioned earlier, the consequences of divorce for women and men. For women, the research has found that there's a declined household income, 20% versus 10% for men. That also alludes to, as we all know, pay equality, a topic for another day. Lower chances of repartnering, right? Because typically it is the women that get the kids. They have more responsibilities as far as maintaining a household, even though the ex-husband is probably chipping in as well. But if we think about it, it comes across that women are damaged goods when they're divorced, especially when they have kids. And then the other one, of course, is just lack of family support, as I mentioned earlier, especially in my community of people. I mean, women are dying because of lack of family support. A few months ago, a man killed his estranged wife because she was filing for divorce. Her family didn't let her come back home, so she got her own place. He found where she lived and killed her.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Another woman died when she was getting abuse from her husband. Again, she couldn't even take the action of filing for divorce, and instead she committed suicide. So these are the things that are happening out there that are not being talked about because it's so ingrained in women in general, I think, to say, you need to be the strong one. You need to carry this out. But see, on the other side of that, for men, the consequences that's happening for them is more so of a higher risk of adopting bad habits. I mentioned earlier when women are 70% more inclined to file for divorce first is because they're already at the point of processing what's happening, right? They've given their all versus for men, it's coming as not necessarily as a surprise, but it wasn't a chance for them to process of what's happening. So when that divorce does come, they have the higher chances of risk of adopting bad habits. So essentially leading to coping skills, right? So drinking, partying, unsafe sex with multiple people, but then also custodial arrangements. We know generally in the court system that the court does tend to favor the mother when it comes to children and custody, which I actually do think is unfair and tends to be that the women win most of those cases. So custodial arrangement also becomes a trigger for men to not cope with divorce as well, but they have the higher chances of repartnering. So chances of repartnering and marrying somebody again within the 10 years of the divorce versus women is only 50% chance during that 10-year period. So,
It's tough enough getting a man out here.
yeah.
And like adding divorce to that, I feel like it's like a tiered thing for these men. It's like the hierarchy of marrying off. It's
Yeah.
kind of
Funny,
odd.
a friend of mine and a friend and I, we were recently talking about dating right now in our 30s, and it was just a random conversation, but basically it was like it's hard to have it's basically difficult to write someone off because of a past, whether
Yeah.
it be male or female and having divorce or children or whatever the case is, because quite honestly we aren't young, and it's really difficult to get to where we are right now unscathed. We've all have experiences that have affected us in one way or another, and we all have traumas big and small. We all have lessons learned that may not necessarily be as learned as we think they are. We might have had one bad experience with somebody who thought in one particular way. It doesn't mean that everybody that has that same belief or core value thinks that way. Just all of these little things where we add stipulations and we start to nitpick and become more picky, and then we realize, it's hard for everyone all around in various different ways, and we all have been affected negatively and positively by our experiences and relationships. So it's unfortunate that women get the short end of the stick in a lot of the
I think just like how women are viewed in general when it comes to, it goes back to that term of, we talked about in episodes in season 1 of like even virginity, right? Where person that's lost her virginity is used, trash, all that kind of stuff. So it ties back to some of those ideations, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, we do
Yeah.
have a lot to talk about tonight. This was good.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing, Dee.
No problem. So I think we should probably go into a couple of questions that we had our audience, since it's kind of related to what we talked about just now. Should I just jump into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Awesome. So again, love y'all for sharing your vulnerability with us. Some of y'all came in real serious. A couple of you came in real funny. So we just couldn't choose which ones to share. So we're going to share all. One of the questions we asked was, why did you stay in a relationship, romantic or platonic, longer than you needed to? This first one was a little funny to me, but just moved in with him. So I stayed until I found another place. Hashtag hobosexual.
Wow.
The hashtag took me out.
Yeah.
It was a hashtag for me.
Is this person in the Caribbean?
I believe
know?
so. I didn't look at the names actually. So,
Okay. Listen, go you.
Hilarious. So
Wow.
Wicked girl.
Well,
Wicked
hold on.
girl.
We will talk about Wicked Girl. ...
Them girl be wicked. What is that song? Them girl be wicked. I don't know. Never mind. I better not.
Them wicked.
Them girl, they're wicked,
What is a
wicked,
meme as a
wicked.
video?
I don't know how they're so wicked. Why is a whole thing? Because they're wicked. But good on you, girl. Good on you, eh?
Yeah. Another said alcohol. I don't know how
What?
that is. Yeah.
I think he bought drinks.
I don't know. And I don't know if it's like because they partied together maybe, or like alcohol was a trigger to like.
Or they stayed drunk throughout the relationship.
Yes, they
That could
probably
be
was
that
always
too.
drinking
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay drunk through the entire thing.
My girl, I hope you're released from them shackles, because
It was a guy.
It was
We
a
have
guy.
another. Yeah. But another one, this one we got a lot of, but basically I genuinely believe there was no one better. He always told me I will never find a better man than him.
That man, I'm dirty.
Dirty man.
The point is of this breakup is that I don't want to find anyone like you, my dog.
Next one is the companionship. The dating pool was horrible at that time. So essentially staying out of necessity.
Sweet
Babes,
2251 is great because it's dismal. It's not abandoning or it's not dead. It's just, it's dismal. Dismal.
the dating pool have sewage, and that's just weird.
Y'all, this one
Find shit in the dating pool. Serious.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
this next one killed me. Next couple ones did because I was young, dumb, and full of cum.
Heyo.
Yeah.
I like the saying. I don't relate, but I like the saying.
Don't relate.
Jans can't even say anything. She puffing up her cheeks.
Listen, I am speechless because full of cum, baby. I am concerned.
Because the dick was magical. I feel like a lot of people stay because of that, to be honest.
You know what? No judgment.
I do take babes. Do take.
Sometimes I just wanted some company, companionship.
That's the one.
That
Is the
yeah.
one. That is the one.
Ain't cuffing season coming up too?
It's
It
of
sounds
a song. It's of
It's
a song.
hot.
It's a dance hall. I'll go circle back.
okay. We haven't, I just realized we haven't had any songs sung on any of these episodes just yet. We missing out.
Giselle Department.
Yeah, true.
Oh,
No.
shameless
Mosquito.
plug nobody asked for. I've been just listening to the same songs on rotation recently. So when I get back into the new music,
He was always traveling and I wanted to break up in person.
thank God.
So kind of like a holding place. I don't know.
Maybe just waiting for the right moment. I don't know.
Mhm.
She had cold feet. I hope that you were able to find yourself in the same physical location.
Oh gosh, that would be a long time not to break up otherwise. Influenced by family members to forgive the person several times. Thank God I stopped listening to them.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Same thing, lots of time invested into his family, and so there was a lot of pressure and expectations. I understand that piece. You do. You essentially end up in a relationship with a family too if you have a good
Yeah.
bond between them, and that's tough.
Sometimes
He
it's
was-
hard to once you intertwine to untangle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I will tell you, like during my thing, I literally had to like unfriend my ex-father-in-law, his siblings and stuff, because it just got too much at a point where they continued to check on me, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I think we need to do a cutoff. And it sucks because, as I said, it's the death of a lot of things.
And
Okay.
even if you're genuinely trying to move on, sometimes you feel a hesitation with
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
so on any of your pages and in the way that you interact because you're afraid of them seeing that you have moved on, that you're happy without, this person, but also them
Yeah,
in your
exactly.
life, no?
He was my friend first, and it felt easy despite knowing it was not going anywhere.
I get that. Because like it's hard because now you're saying goodbye to two things. You're saying goodbye to your friend and like maybe potentially the friend group you guys had together and your man's or girl.
So some serious ass.
Hoping for change plus fear of knowing I wasted my time already. 100% do not recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like this one actually. Trauma bonds. That was kind
Yeah,
of like a oh
fun.
shit too. That's right. Another one, too fucking loyal. And then last one for that one is I gave him benefit of the doubt, but once a cheater, always a cheater.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
So the
Definitely.
other, yeah.
That last one, actually, I have controversial views because, that thought where some people think you start a relationship and then the person starts acting different, or you start a relationship with the hope that the person would start acting different.
Mhm.
And I think that both bets are just bets because a relationship is supposed to change you. You are supposed to grow into and because of a relationship with someone. If you are in
Right.
that relationship, right? You adjust, not changing yourself per se, but also improving yourself because you are committed to a relationship. And that could work in many directions. So dating someone because you think that they will change isn't a false hope, because the expectation is that you will both change to, be better part in that relationship. So that one is one for me that is, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I agree, because I don't stand by that statement either. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Like as I was mentioning earlier, it's like if someone can own up to what they did.
Want to change for. That's
exactly. I agree with that one too.
Yeah.
In my experience, it's always been once a cheater, always a cheater, and it gets more open as time goes on.
Yeah. I mean, it's also something that I've had to accept as a woman. Sometimes we like people and we expect them to behave a certain way, and we see that they behave a certain way with other people, and we ask why, and it's not that there's something wrong with us or that we need to do anything different. It might simply be that you are just not the person for that. And so maybe there are some behaviors and there are some demons that we do create, because that also I believe that sometimes we the drama. But also, besides the fact that we can be the drama, also, people have their people and they see value in you, yes, and you are worthy, but also just the science just in there for you or for us, and we just don't get the same reaction. Equation, but different reaction, and and it's just how it is.
All right, so the flip side of that, we asked them, why do you think one stays in a relationship longer than they needed? Some common answers, but they said they have spent time in it already, do not want to see that as time wasted. They have become codependent on each other. They were, sorry, go ahead, Jans.
No, I was just saying that's a big one, the codependency.
Yeah. They were in too deep. They have a fear of being alone. Someone said because there was no other options at the time. That's a bit brutal.
Damn.
It's in the Caribbean.
Romantic reasons. I'm assuming they're talking about sexual reasons here. Trying to prove others wrong. That makes sense actually.
I think that was me. I didn't want people to be right about them saying that man is trash, girl.
Yeah, that's a tough one. They were friends though, but were in the hope of it turning into a little bit more romance.
Hey.
Hi, Giselle.
That's a killer, yo.
For money.
Well,
financial. I mean, that's honest. And I definitely I could see that happening.
Lack of self-worth. I would say worth.
Like I said, what?
Lack of self-worth.
Making sure.
I mean, that's a one, but definitely,
Yep.
That's a big one, for real.
They felt bad for the other person because that person loved them so much, so they try to make it work.
Oh, that would be hurtful. I'd be scared to break up.
But I feel like, aren't you doing the opposite of what you're trying to do, essentially? Because eventually will hurt them.
I've never been in a situation where you felt like, I don't want to be the one that breaks us up. Like, you've never been in that situation where you're like, I don't want to be the bad guy. Like, I can see that this is going to end, but I don't want to be the bad guy. And you just wait for the right moment, but you just feel like, yo, I don't want to be the bitch in this. Like, let me see if it could happen either on its own or like something could, I mean, and again, that's why I said sometimes we the drama, but it happens. Sometimes you just don't want to be the one to do the heartbreaking.
Yeah. So it's like, fingers crossed that they can tell I don't love them anymore. They just, don't want to
break up with you. Or even better, they just ghost you.
You'd be like, thank God, Casper, thank you.
Oh gosh.
No,
All
or
right.
your ego could come into play and be like, this bitch ghosted me.
It's like I don't want to be with you, but like, how dare you want to break up
How
with
dare
me?
you?
Hold on, I know we vex, eh? No, we vex, because even
No,
though
we
we the
Yeah,
done,
that
no,
piece of
we
shit broke up with me.
how dare you style me?
How dare you? Nonsense.
Oh, whole time we waiting for it to done it, but as soon as you're like, excuse me,
Yo, you
This
can't
is why
win though.
Fuck.
You cannot win, boy.
I mean, it's
Cannot,
man, they can't.
All right. Fear of change.
Fair.
This one is you are trying to show the person you're accepting of their imperfections to prove that you love them, which
Wow.
is hence trying to saying it longer.
Yeah.
Abandonment issues.
Mm-hmm.
I think that goes back to trauma bond. And then
Yeah.
last but not least, sex.
So does really hold all your boy.
Boy,
She said earlier.
is it all yeah?
All your
Oh,
Okay, because God had to do something. God had to do
That was the
something
sandal
about
of
the life.
Jesus.
God
yo,
had to do
That
something.
was the sandal of Jesus.
yo.
Bap you on your head, because nonsense and drivel. Nonsense and drivel.
Nonsense. I
Um,
will not any longer.
should we? Who wants to kick off the other two topics? You want me to go into the questions, y'all?
We could go through the topics, but I do have an article that I would read from, not read, but read from, regarding the relationships of non-monogamy types.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
Ooh, so we're reading some of them first?
Now you do
Some of the
too.
questions.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the other topic we asked our listeners about, I know we're going to talk about platonic relationships too, but about non-monogamous relationships. I personally think there is room to explore that. Not now, not in my marriage. I don't think I could do it, but hopefully Darren wasn't listening to that. But
While he edits. While he edits. Hopefully
while he
doesn't
edits,
listen.
he go,
But
While
he
he's
can
the
be like,
person that
excuse,
edit.
what did I
There's
hear?
no way to hide this.
Exactly. All right. So one of the questions we asked, what would a healthy non-monogamous relationship look like to you? Got quite a few of these, but honest communication about expectations or not, and your hard no's.
That's
That
a
makes
big one.
sense.
Yeah.
Being free to explore other people that we both agree upon and be transparent about it.
Mm-hmm.
Another person took it a simple way. No expectations. Life is simpler that way.
all your son?
I don't know about
All
that
your
one.
son?
I don't like that.
I
If
don't.
if you're doing,
Just be
some people
fucking
think
up
that
people's girl children.
non-monogamy is like easier and it's like more about freedom and do what you want, but it actually means now you need to tighten down on the yeses and the nos, like
Mhm.
because you might be surprised at things that bother you. For example, do you want to know who I'm meeting on Friday, or do you not want to know who I'm meeting on
Oh,
Friday?
yeah.
You want to know who I'm meeting on Friday and you want to know the name, or you just want to know I'm out with a man, ... Do you want to
Yeah.
know who it is? Do you want to know what happened? Do you want to know how it happened? Because some people want details and some people are like, don't ask, don't tell. And
Right.
one person might be there, the other person might not be. The other person might be like, only protected, or no details at all. Like, I feel like people assume that it's a free pass to do what the hell you want, but it actually requires more communication, like more, because you also need to constantly reassure your primary partner, like, yes, I'm out with Johnny tonight, I'm out with Tom the next day, and I'm Peter meeting me next week. But it's me and you. We good, we got this, we have an Awasa bill to cover. I love you. Let's go to the beach on Sunday. No, like you still have to maintain your primary relationship.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
I feel like,
and
sorry, go ahead, Jans.
nah, that's it. I'm
I was
good.
gonna say, I feel like the term sometimes can have a negative connotation to it because ideally, I think people read non-monogamous and they think, oh, orgy or there's sex parties or stuff like that that's happening versus like, no, this people can, for the ones that it works for, great. they have their understandings, they have their rules and so forth, versus like other people who may not be open to it, that's okay too. But then there's a group of people that just think of it as a negative. They do become judgmental, not only about if they were to be in one, but on others that are in one too, and judging that and saying like things like, I have, that people will say things like, it's not a real relationship, right?
Yeah.
Where I've seen non-monogamous relationships be successful. So yeah.
Or the same kind of negative connotation they pair with the term open. People think that open means do whatever you please.
Exactly.
So from that, can there be infidelity in a non-monogamous?
Of course.
They definitely can.
Of course,
Absolutely.
because as long as you're lying and you're concealing information and you are going against the terms that you have agreed on, then for sure, because also there is the aspect of, for example, you can have outside relationships that are physical and not emotional. So
Yeah.
you can meet this person and have physical experiences with them, but you're not allowed to have, or maybe our rule is, I am not, maybe it's not a rule, but maybe it's an expression of, this is what I'm comfortable with, this is what I'm not comfortable with. It's up to you as a person that cares about me, whether you want to protect or expose my feelings. I am not comfortable with you having these types of intimate relationships with this person or sharing these types of things. I don't expect you to go with her to her sister child christening, for example, random. But maybe that's like a thing. This is like beyond just you and this person are meeting up for a good time. This is an investment. You are spending time with them, their family, the things and events and people that you're trying to be part of a moment in their life. I have a problem with that. That's my
You take
hard
the
no.
relationship a little further than it's allowed to be, basically.
Yeah. Or maybe my thing is you are not allowed to like mess with anybody in my immediate girl or friend circle. Like, don't jump up in front of my face with some
that is
girl.
a given.
No, it might not be a given.
In your
It
friend
like,
group, dog.
no, but in a context like the Caribbean or in Grenada, it's easy to be close. We might be able to like that might be a hard no. Like, I don't want to see you with no immediate like nobody who I know on a first name basis, or no girl that I went to like whatever it is that you like, because people might assume, nah, we good,
Yeah.
we good.
Yeah. All right. Someone definitely doesn't agree with this. It said, do not think it's possible because people get off on lying, cheating, and sneaking around.
But that's a whole different kink. I disagree with that
Yeah.
person. Sorry.
Yeah. One filled with communication. We said that already. Someone wrote, a long distance open relationship in secret. Actually, now that I think about it, not so healthy.
Nice. I like that. I like that.
Another person wrote, two successful, beautiful Black queens minding me for the rest of my life.
You know what? Whoever you
Yes,
are,
Kate.
I love your answer.
Yes, Kate.
Yeah.
Right.
Hello, Rohan, you're making an
That's how we say
assumption.
minding me for the
It
rest
don't
of my
have to be a
life.
king, it could be a queen.
It could be a queen
It could
too.
be a queen too. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it could be a queen.
I apologize.
And then last but not least, open, clear, and honest expectations. Ego should be checked at the door, and respecting each other is important and needs are being met.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, question, ladies, can y'all be in a non-monogamous relationship?
I'm going to answer last because before I answer, I will read from this article.
Yeah.
So y'all answer and then I'll answer.
I don't think so. I think it's weird because, and that's probably just me because I've been in my marriage and previous marriage for so long. And that was a very long relationship that led into marriage. And there was a point in time where I was very jilted. I was just like, I'm not even attempting a relationship. So I guess I was dating. I don't necessarily think that's considered a relationship because you're just dating. So I don't consider that like a non-monogamous thing. But if I am in a serious relationship with my husband, I would not be able to do non-monogamous. I think for me, even though if there would be rules and so forth, I'm pretty sure my feelings would get caught up somewhere. So not for, yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it. No judgment to anybody else, but I personally would not be able to do it.
I would say I don't know. I am open to it. I can say upfront what my hard no's are and what my expectations are. So as long as I think I am partnering with somebody that understands and respects those, then fine. If you don't give a fuck about my feelings, then you are an actual asshole. But for me, I would like to be the main character of my story. And so non-monogamy is fine for me if there's open, honest communication and I want to know things. I want to be able to ask questions. I want to be able to feel safe and protected by your actions. I will always protect you and myself by my actions, but I also want to know that I can trust in your good decisions. And I don't want to feel like I was gonna go, I was gonna become my alcohol self, and then I just reeled back for 2 seconds. I just don't want to feel like option 2 in your life. That's all. If I'm in a non-monogamous relationship, I don't want to feel like second player. I would like to have a steady primary relationship with options for exploration and adventure. And that's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel you. I'll play off of that a little bit, where I think the space that I'm at right now in my life, it's 2 things. I can either be okay with it, but to a place where we can't do that here. If we're gonna have like other partners, I don't want it to be locally, because I don't know if I can do people watch me, because like not everybody is very mature in situations. I don't know if when I'm walking on the street, the girl group or whoever it is like kikiing about my mans and you and him. You know, like my anxiety will have me reeling. So like for me, it's definitely no, but I can do it if it's maybe an overseas thing. But I can't be like number 2. I think I've searched through my feelings a little bit, and I realize I have a thing where it's like I don't feel picked or chosen by the men that I've had situationships or whatever with. And that's always been my thing. And I think it's chipped away a little bit at me, but it's a huge thing for me, and I'm trying to recognize it and, you know, openly say it if I do have to openly say it to whoever it is that I'm possibly going to date. But for right now, that's not a thing for me. Maybe one day, maybe not.
Okay. Giselle.
Right. So yeah, my genuine answer is I can do casual dating until I am ready to be with somebody. And I am not sure that when I have said, if I have titled it, then that's me and you there, brother, once we have titled it. But when I looked at the article that I'm about to pick from, there are so many levels to the non-monogamy thing. I actually think that in this juncture of my life here now up till this date, I fall into one of them. And when I read them out, you're going to tell. And then there's also the primary and stuff, which is also a subgroup of non-monogamous relationships, which y'all will probably fall in if it was to happen like that for you, right? So it says an openly non-monogamous relationship is one where partners agree that they want to be together, not that they just fucking or they just real close friends, or that, you know, they have defined the relationship and are open and honest about the fact that they have other partners. For this reason, it is also referred to as ethical non-monogamy, because outside of the ethics, it's just horning dog and being on shit. That's it. And if I'm being honest, I know myself, I passed through as a side player on the horning part, because In a way, ain't no way. Anyway, there are types of non-monogamy, and so I'm going to read them out. There are open relationships, which Ayana was explaining. An open relationship is one in which the couple agree that they're free to have sex with other people, while sex with other people is okay. Loving the other person is not always okay, right? There's polyamory, literally meaning many loves. In polyamory, it's considered okay to love more than one person as well as have sex with them. So that's a sub of non-monogamy. Hierarchical polyamory. Some people have one main partner alongside other relationships that are lesser priority. So you have your main, and then you have these relationships, and I guess you can stipulate if those relationships can go into sex or not, or if it's just sex and no kind of emotional connection, as Jans was saying before. I think it's egalitarian or egalitarian polyamory. There isn't a hierarchy in that one, with each partner considered equal. So people in this relationship structure may live together in a triad or a quad. So we just loving each other equally. We just
Big love.
Boom, love
Big love.
you. Boom, love you, love you, love you, love trio, we love four, we all of us, we loving on each other same way. Solely polyamory. This refers to a person who lives alone but visits or is visited by several partners, right?
That
Which
is problems for me.
Which is where I say, and I'll be honest, in this juncture of my life, had I been defining relationships with guys, that would have been me. But there's no defining of a relationship here. So I was sitting down thinking, what's the difference between solo polyamory and casual dating? But I think the relationship part is saying that you're actually in a relationship with the people. So you are, that's my man, that's my man, that's my man too.
Like in a committed relationship to these multiple people versus just dating.
Yeah. So
you could
there's a
soft
fine
launch
line.
on Instagram.
What you say?
I say you could soft launch all them on your Instagram.
Yo, I support my friends in all things.
Yo, I read somewhere where a girl didn't post her man on her Instagram until he proposed to her.
Until he proposed.
I mean, that's a flex. I'm gonna say that's a flex.
A lot of people be doing that though. They see them
Yeah.
all over the place, and you're wondering, oh my God, going on a girl trip or going on trips a lot by yourself is great until
Yo, solo trip, wedding 9 months pregnant.
Wedding, you know.
Yeah,
Wedding.
Wedding and
No,
about
but
to birth.
because
that is a
remember I
flex
tell all
though.
you,
That is
somebody
a flex.
that I know said, well, I am not posting you even if you're lost.
Oh. Oh, they don't even make it to the milk carton.
This is me sitting down here.
The person not even gonna buy the milk.
Oh boy.
No milk, not even a milk carton.
Oh no. Not even a reshare.
Damn, not even a reshare, not even a retweet, bro.
Yo, that's not
even. They said, continuing, they said one thing that most open or ethical non-monogamous relationships share is that everyone involved is open about the arrangement and consents to it. So it's not that you might want to be non-monogamous, but the person that you are with or dating or going into this relationship with might not. That doesn't mean you're not does not necessarily mean you're in a non-monogamous relationship. Y'all just didn't talk about the shit. Yeah, because an ethical non-monogamous relationship, everybody is aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And you've made your rules, and like Jan say, if you want to know, you don't want to know, ting, bam, bam, bam. But everybody done, and they know exactly, not possibly, they know exactly what it is.
I believe in the ethics, even if it's not a relationship. Let's say you have like a 1, 2, 3 man, 1, 2, 3 girl that you're seeing. I believe in the ethics of letting people know, you're not the only person that I'm seeing. You're not the only person that I'm seeing. I'm also sleeping with you. This is why we are going to have protected sex. This is a situation. The ethics of it, because like it or not, there's many things, including diseases, that we have to worry about. So letting someone know this is why we not fucking raw. Sorry, is that too much? Sorry. I bet.
No, like that is a hard, like that could be a hard no.
Yeah.
You know, in that situation, that would be a rule for me.
There's that. I mean, but the thing is, right? And in my natural inclination is to say man, but there are people who are out here saying they're non-monogamous, but damn, you're not letting these people know. You're not letting
That
these
part.
niggas know. You're not letting these bitches know. And then
Yeah.
when they act up or they realize what's happening or they realize something and they start to act up, then he insecure, he crazy, she crazy.
Yeah.
But
Or
that's why,
just they are letting the woman know, but it is not consensual. So they might be saying,
right,
almost as if you're not giving the person who you're with the option. So it's
the
not a
option.
discussion. It is this is what it is. This is it.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's on the woman. And
Yeah.
sometimes the woman is us. It's on the woman to say this is a situation I want to be in or not in. But also, with those types of things, sometimes I could be wild because everybody has a right to say what they want.
Mhm.
Everyone has a right to say what they want. That is the person that wants more and the person that wants less, or the person that wants left, or the person that wants right. You might not want more or less, but you might just want different things. Everybody has a right to say what they want, but also everybody has the right to look for, ask for, and take what they want. Yes, that too. And also, if you are going to stay where you are, then you also have the right and you have the responsibility to respect what the other person wants if you decide to stay where you are. So if you're doing what you're doing, man and woman, don't stay where you are and say, well, they know, because you are also staying.
So at 17, 18, I was in that situation where the man that I was with called me up, and I still remember it. I was at choir practice. I went outside on the church steps. And the
Church
call,
steps.
the call was, hey, I really love you, but I want to be in an open relationship. I was like, I don't want to be in an open relationship. That's not something that I'm interested in. And he's like, well, this is what I'm doing. And I was like, okay. I think I tried to pretend that it wasn't there a little bit. But also when I would even have a male friend, that person would go off on me. Like I couldn't even be around my friends that I've known since baby. I remember him specifically saying that I could not see my childhood friend who had come on vacation for a week or something. And he's like, you can't go. And I'm like, we're in an open relationship. You're telling me I can't go and see a friend, and you out here having sex with girls and then telling me about it? What?
Yeah. Nope.
So the shit you
Boy.
I just find that if you want to preach it or that's what you want to say that you are, because you are in a relationship, it's not that you're just going around and fucking everybody. You are in relationships with these people. You are sharing yourself with these people and parts of you, physically, emotionally, financially, a lot of times, because these are actual relationships that you are fostering. And it's not just you have a woman here, you have a woman there, you have a man here, and you have a man there. That's not what it is. It's actual relationships that you have worked on and you've built on, which is what I think a lot of people just don't understand. Well,
Yeah.
I don't want one man. I non-monogamous.
That's not how it works.
Do they know?
I don't think they know. You know what it is to have 3 man, proper, all your boyfriends. They know that they're boyfriends, so you have to manage all of these. And then the true talk, we in the Caribbean, the true talk. Can you come pick me up? Now I don't ask the other man and them. If I was a man, dog, and a little salty about the side not being, yeah. That's what I would say. Go on. I mean, I'll come pick you up. But
yeah. But the first thing I would do is tell you.
The first thing I say, why you ask you
tonight
other man and
is my night.
yeah, I don't think if it is that I do a non-monogamous relationship kind of thing, I don't know if the longevity of that is real short, because eventually main character Giselle will want to come out, and that's okay. But you also have to check yourself, because this is the decision that you've made. So you need to know if it's not going to work for you anymore, because like I said, once I have DTR'd, that's me and you there. We stuck like lagly for a while. You dig? And so, yeah, boy. Yeah, so if you're doing that, you have to also check yourself, check your emotions, because it's a decision that you have made. If you know you're not for it, please, don't try. One thing I would not suggest anybody do, if you know in your heart that that's not your thing, don't try for that person because you want that person so much, but they want to be non-monogamous. Because I can't promise you, because I can't say it's happened, but you're gonna jump out yourself. You're gonna jump out yourself on the alcohol at some point, with your friends at some point, because you weren't initially okay with it, and you're seeing it and you have to bite down on it and think. If it's not for you,
that's where the communication comes in. I think I believe in a check-in. Like even when you have like a client contract and stuff, there's some sort of go back and like, hey, are we meeting these certain, requirements? Like, are we meeting these things that we've agreed on? Like, do we need to revamp the contract?
that
I feel like that should be in any type of relationship
it
though.
is true.
Yeah, even a monogamous relationship.
Check in.
Yeah,
And
let's check in.
I think
Like,
one reason why people don't do it, man or woman, is because they're like, I said I was okay in the beginning, and if I say it now I'm not okay now, they're not gonna be okay. When really and truly that person could be growing or developing in a certain direction that's taking them away from it, or making them a little more open to, well, maybe just let me just try me and you for a while. Just let me see how that's going.
Or the person doesn't want to hear what the other person wants to say, or the fear of like
Yeah.
them changing their answer as well.
We're afraid. I could see it happening where we're afraid of our change in answer, because sometimes we're the hesitant ones. And
Yeah.
in the beginning, we might start off with a casual intention, and then depending on how we grow and change throughout the relationship, we decide, okay, this is what I thought I wanted here, and maybe I want less, or maybe I want more. And so yeah, and the fear of, and also the fear of the feedback that we get from someone else. We don't want to be disappointed in any direction. I don't want to know that I'm telling this person like, yo, I have spent this much time with you, and I have realized that you are an amazing human. I want to spend more time with you. And then the opposite, where it's, yeah, I have spent this much time with you, and yeah, I still want to continue spending this limited time with you. I actually want to spend less time with you. That feeling of rejection, that, yo, maybe you have gotten to know me and you don't like me, versus I have gotten to know you and I decided that I like you. That just that fear of like, okay, if I can forfeit what I have, with the potential of, moving forward and building on this relationship, or it could all crumble. So there's also that hesitation to choose the route of checking in, because we don't want to, again, we sometimes we're the drama, and it's important to be the drama. It's important sometimes, but we don't always want to be the drama.
Yeah.
It's true.
So guys,
I really liked the breakdown of the different tiers to non-monogamy.
Yeah.
The article really did put out, because then you realize that it really is not just that simple. There's so much more. Like you need to be more responsible there. So to casually date, if you want to just do what you're doing, even in that, you still have to be a little bit open with the communication, depending on what you're doing with who you're doing it with. But yeah, it's not as simple than really. Once that word relationship slap on it, it just becomes this much more complicated.
Yeah, boy.
It does. And that's why we don't add relationships to a lot of our situations, because we even, like, most of our interactions are relationships, but we're afraid to add that label because the word just brings complication. But the fact is, a lot of our engagements, they are relationships. I mean, duh. That is like, duh. It's a relationship.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
What
and
type of relationship? That is a whole essay, but you know.
But we
there is
asked
something there.
our listeners, have you ever been in a healthy non-monogamous relationship? If I tell you how comedic our listeners are. But let's just go. Some answered seriously. So I would say about like of those that answered, about 40% said yes and others said no. But some of those varying answers were for a while, but jealous is one hell of a thing. Another person said in my dreams. A third person said yes, but without the other party knowing.
So then, no.
Okay.
Then
You were
no.
just cheating, babes.
Yeah.
So
One person said never. Men can be selfish. One listener asked us a question. Have you seen the dating pool lately?
We
Read
have.
it.
They listen. Somebody took a shit in the pool.
Ismal, they have place to swim. The kiddie side, literally, dog.
No, you actually have to swim in the kiddie pool.
Yeah.
Because over here in Seniorsville,
Mm,
them pampers leaking.
boy. But diapers leaking in the kiddie pool though.
Nope. It gets in there. It's
Gets
stupid
in-
Where
too, but
there's
it's
shit
still,
all around.
Boy.
the filter's working over there.
Hold on. Can we please say that when we say kiddie pool, this is of age consensual over 20.
Oh
Over 20.
yes. Thank you. Thank you for the
Over
disclaimer.
Over 23. I mean, you're the youngest in this particular
I'm the
panel. So how low down you could go?
20.
If I was your prefect when I was like, if I was in high school,
You'll stop that, eh?
your prefect and you was
Listen.
You're
20.
prefect in high
I
school?
think
20.
At 2-3 years, Rohan.
come on.
Oh my god. How did you just fall out
Oh
of your
my
chair,
God.
bro?
Are you
No,
okay?
guys.
The way the
Guys.
camera
Guys.
followed her is the best part though.
Rohan just fell out of
Are
her
you
chair
okay?
and
Are you
her
okay?
iPad followed.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I didn't fall.
Your coccyx is intact?
Actually, yeah. I'm just gonna stay here.
Okay. Girl, you okay though? Yo.
Yeah.
The funny part is it's just the way the iPad falls.
No, the iPad.
You know what the iPad is? The
Yeah,
iPad
that
is like, you know
iPad
when
does
someone
not
watch you
miss.
fall and don't help you up? That's what the
Yeah.
iPad is. It just watch you fall and don't help you up.
Just literally slowly went.
Listen, but best view for us.
Yo, your hair went all up in the
We
air.
saw every part of that fall.
Can we get a slow-mo of this one?
Yo. Yeah, we about to tell
Giselle is
Daryl to
still
slow that down.
speechless.
Daryl, can you
God.
slow that down? Me?
Yeah, boy. That was,
Sis, you
oh
okay?
gosh. That was great. That was great.
It's not very high, so I didn't fall far, and I
Okay, good.
fell like on the seats. Like
Okay,
when-
good. Not on your tailbone or anything.
But I'm going to stay here for safety.
Yeah, I suggest that.
The iPad has already adjusted.
Yeah.
It's adjusted. The iPad is adjusted.
Jiz, have you found your words as yet?
Oh man.
I did ask if she was okay.
Oh.
I did ask if she was okay.
She did.
My other option was candleless laughter.
No, that's
Here's
fair.
his feeling is because the laughter really just went through my eyeballs.
No, that's fair. I'm in
Boy.
a friend group. I have fallen. I have broken things because of falls. Nothing's broken. We're okay. This is maybe the least embarrassing fall I've ever had. Cause I really fell in the middle of town twice. So I was in high school. Okay. That was
Let me tell
embarrassing.
you why I don't want to say anything bad either. Like I didn't want to laugh too hard because my first thought, besides,
Was
oh my
laugh.
God, are you okay? No. It was, I'm so glad we have this on video.
Yeah.
I'm
And
so
if you all heard
sorry,
someone
Rohan.
struggling to breathe, it was probably
I am
me because of my
so
laughter.
Sorry. I am so sorry. That was the first thing I thought.
This is the first fall I've had on camera. This is
Wow.
this-
This is
I wanna-
honestly, I mean, I feel bad that you fell, but this was gold.
I
it's
mean,
This was
people
gold.
would think it's impossible that you would fall because you're sitting, eh?
Yeah, that's the other part that's so gold about this.
Honestly,
That you on a
everything
chair.
is content. Everything is content.
There you go.
This is how I fall for men.
Boy.
That makes sense.
On the
Boy.
floor in no time.
And they just watch you like
Exactly.
that, huh?
They watch me like
Like the iPad.
actually I didn't want chicken. I just wanted pasta.
Oh gosh. All right, let me move. Let me move.
I don't even know
Take us away, Baha. Take us away.
So I was
Yeah.
so the
Yeah,
last two
Samuel.
answers are actually my favorite. I'm gonna say yes because I was comfy parking in one driveway while cruising the streets.
Listen, go you, eh?
Go you. And then the last one is
Rohan, are you still falling?
No, the chair is still
the chair is still falling.
Yo, your
Maybe
next
just
direction to fall
stand
is
up
back,
for the
friend.
last. We
Back
probably
up.
have 10 minutes left. Just stand up for the rest.
And the last one was as long as neither party tries to change the terms agreed upon, non-monogamous is a vibe.
All right. This person sounds like they were doing it right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds like it.
I mean, cool.
Yeah.
We did
Not
ask,
everybody is shit, you know.
but not everybody is shit.
I remind myself daily.
Sometimes we
Wait,
just gotta
no,
find
guys, B, you forgot one. Unless you're sitting, I was still laughing.
Oh yeah, no. It says okay. So there was one I skipped it by accident. With the Grenadian man, never.
that one. Huh?
Ooh, but see, I can't say that because I'm married to a
and if
Grenadian.
you have
So.
talent,
Yeah, but you in a monogamous one.
Oh,
unless-
true. Good point. No. You're right. We
Your man's passport is
monogamous.
not really, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes they get a little jelly too, eh? Guys,
Yeah.
if we're being honest, sometimes you get a little jelly too.
Sometimes they cry.
It's okay. It's not only us. We get jelly too. I know I would at some point,
Yeah.
somewhere, somehow.
I don't get jelly 2. I get jelly 1 and 3.
We know a friend.
It's okay. It's okay. We did ask our listeners another question like before we started filming, which was really fun because like the first time we've done that. Who wants to read the thingy and then we can
Are you in it?
I'm in it now.
I'm in it here, yeah.
I can read the question and Ro, you can read the answers.
Perfect.
All right. So while we're filming, can a relationship be bad without being toxic?
So there were 2 straight just yeses. Someone said it's just bad chemistry. It's not there anymore. So the key is to walk away before it gets toxic. Fair, cool. One person said yes, you and your partner may not have a connection or be able to read one another equals bad. Fair, okay. Yes, but I feel they come to an end at this stage. Toxic is bad, but continuous.
That's a good one.
Okay. So what do y'all think?
I mean, yeah, I agree with what our listeners said. It's that there's a point of like where we've identified it. It's bad in a way of you can identify that this relationship is no longer fitting your needs, but the toxicity comes into place of continuing that relationship as you know that it's not meeting your needs, and essentially all that kind of stuff turns into resentment, which then you start really treating your partner and vice versa very badly as well, right? So making decisions based on very unrealistic situations and treating that person while you're trying to think that you do love them, but then treating them horrible in general after that as well. So I think it's just a matter of identifying when to leave before it gets to that level, at least for me.
Yeah, I think a relationship can definitely be bad without being toxic. In the same way, there's no chemistry. So you and whoever, y'all just don't vibe. It's like awkward when everybody it's awkward when y'all together. It's awkward when people see y'all together because the personalities just don't match, or just even as you've been going out together, you realize that it's just you don't feel a vibe. It's just so. The question is why? Why are we here? Kind of way. toxic to me involves a level of manipulation and back and forth.
Yeah.
Not necessarily always back and
Vindictiveness
forth, but
maliciousness.
manipulation by
Mhm.
someone, or the back and forth kind of vibe, the tit for tat kind of actual seeping hazardous gas and fluid just emanating around it, because it's festering. But a bad relationship could have started good but then kind of dwindled, and so you don't feel like you're growing or
Yeah.
doing anything. You're just stagnant with it. So I do believe that
Yeah.
you can have a
I
bad
agree with y'all.
relationship.
I agree with everything y'all said. Ro, I don't know if you want to add, but I agree. Yeah. Bad
mean,
is
y'all made
like
bad
not
and
well
guilt.
matched. You're not
Yeah.
well suited. And then toxic for me, in my interpretation of just the toxic part, is that there's a level of manipulation and maliciousness involved. Like maybe more of a self-awareness. I am aware that I am doing this to hurt this person. Whereas bad might not necessarily mean that you're intentionally trying to hurt the person. You're just like on different planets. You like different things or you want different things.
Well, I wouldn't even call that bad. I would just say it's just like it's not a
Yeah, it's
match right
not well
now.
matched.
Just
Yeah,
look
yeah.
at fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like without being a toxic person, I think you can just be a fucking jackass, and there's no manipulation. It's just that you're maybe really selfish, and there's no part of you that wants to maybe find a balance in between. It's not like you're trying to manipulate this person into thinking anything that you're thinking, but you're just not. You're just stuck in your way, and then that's just it. And to hell with you if you agree with me or not, but this is it. This is my way. This is how I'm doing it. You
Yeah.
know? So y'all bad sound pretty.
Yeah, bad is like, toxic is on a different level completely, yo.
I've been in
Different level. Yeah, I've been in toxic friendships. Just
Yeah, boy. Platonic friendships are a whole
taking from
different
you, yeah.
level of toxicity that can happen as well. I don't know.
So
I feel like it's interesting. In this phase of my life, I've really been identifying some relationships where I'm just like, they no longer serve me, or I've now just identified that they've no longer served me, but they've been in that place for a while, turning to the point of toxic, and where I just had to like be like, you know what? I'm going to be strong enough to be like, this doesn't fit anymore. And that's okay. I think sometimes we get confused with like longevity of a friendship triumphs over quality of friendship. I used to be a believer in that. I used to say like, oh gosh, I've known this person for so long. It'd be so hard for me to take 2 steps back. And I think at some point it became about mental health, and you just kind of have to do that. I don't know if any of you guys have been through something like that, but I really had to the past couple of years just reassess a few things, and just no love lost, but I can love you from afar and kind of do my own thing, and that's okay.
mm-hmm.
I think-
love lost though.
Sorry, G. Go ahead.
Sometimes you have to lose love there. Sometimes it's love lost.
Yeah.
I think for people like B, like who are so kind and forgiving and very gracious with people and always trying to see the absolute best in them, you come across more toxic people than you think sometimes. And because you're just giving grace, it's just it becomes second nature for you to kind of give grace and not recognize that this person is just maybe there just to get whatever they can from you, even if it is just like kindness and stuff. Like it's tough for very kind people to discern and figure out that there may be a lot of people in their life who are just there for kindness and friendship, and they can't offer you anything else. Offer you a thing. So
yeah, for sure.
2 cents. My ass hurts.
Oh, baby.
I guess, is that a point for us to wrap it up, girls?
Yeah, because the ass is.
Who wants to take it away?
Oh,
Ro, you were last.
Who was last?
You was.
Ooh.
Damn!
I mean, this was a great episode, y'all. I am
was.
so happy for our listeners
was
to
so good.
contributing as well. So
And
That's
so
great.
many of them did.
Love it.
Boys and girls.
Mhm.
Wait,
I think this is the most we've had actually guys answer, to be honest. It was like a good split. It was a good even split.
Okay, guy friends.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm really happy. And I think this was a really great episode. And I'm super excited for the content that we're going to be putting out. And I'm excited to see how people interact and engage with it. But thank you for listening. This has been Straight No Chaser podcast with Rohan, B, Ayana, and Giselle tonight. And we're really excited for season 2.
Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Okay, first and foremost, let's do that properly. We're not just telling you bye. We are telling you to please go follow us on the interwebs, on the Instagrams at straightnochaser.podcast, and the link in our bio will take you wherever you can see us. Stream us on the YouTubes as well. Straight No Chaser on comma.
What? Straight up.
Comma No Chaser. Sorry, I was gonna say comma podcast. Straight comma No Chaser, because that would be the podcast, and of course the other one would be the acapella group. Again, big up you acapella group, but we want people to look at us. All right. And yeah, because we didn't say that part, but
No, that was good. Perfect.
That was good. Perfect.
Hold on.
Are you
Big
just
up the realest gal of all. Big up the queen, rest her soul.
No.
Yo,
Don't upset me.
it's a good thing about a month and a half from now this will come out, eh?
Yeah.
But shout out to Queenie still. Yo, I'm telling you.
Don't upset me.
Hello.
You're gonna have a very split reaction to that one, girl.
Man, she broke up your family on both sides, eh?
Yeah, dog, on both ends, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leave she alone.
Leave
put
she
up a-
alone. You about to split up our listeners when they hear this.
Shout out to my girl Diana. Don't let her in heaven.
Okay. Okay.
All
There you
right.
go.
Diana, big up you.
Big up you. And Black Twitter.
Twitter.
Now,
Yo,
big
I
up
love
Black
Black
Twitter
Twitter. That's
all
the
the
best.
time, every time,
Boy.
without fail.
Whew.
Black Twitter is where it's at.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.